enforce it, we'd have to have.
Correct, it has to come back before the board in the form of a motion, you'll vote it so that it becomes part of the town's traffic rules and orders, and then becomes enforceable by the police department.
It's not a public hearing, per se.
No, just, right, it's just a meet, right. Good, thank you.
Mr. Fogg? Dick, when you put in for the truck exclusion, they don't look for an alternate route for the trucks?
We have to submit that.
Right.
The town has to suggest an alternate, and usually they want an alternate within the community. In our case, the only feasible alternative within the community is Park Street to Havel Street, in front of the high school, and Ryers take a right. Sending them, suggesting they go all the way up to 93 and around, they wouldn't accept that. Well, I can't say that for sure, but I'm fairly confident they would say no.
You can't use 28?
It's not wholly within North Reading, I'm sure you could use it.
They tend to favor having it, if it's your problem, keep it in your community. They tend to. It's not a guarantee, and I can't say I have a lot of experience in this, but just from talking to other people I've asked. So, I mean, we could submit any option anybody agrees to. I'm pretty sure the in-town one would be the one that they would favor.
That confuses me. It just confused me. So if you're talking Park Street to Havel Street, and that's how you end it, then what's wrong with saying Route 28 to Concord Street and end it?
Usually truck exclusion, it's the point you want the trucks to stop entering, and at either end, you have to connect the dots.
Okay.
So the Route 28 one they'd make you go down 28. You can't go.
You can't go Franklin Street.
You can't go Franklin. You got to go like 129 over and back. That's how they compute it.
Can't go Franklin.
Because Mike and I laid it out, and we didn't realize it. That's how they
Franklin's
typically do it.
excluded.
Okay.
Yeah, with one exception though, is they're coming down, a bulk of the traffic is getting on Havel Street to get out to 128.
Right.
Correct.
They can get out to 128 down Route 28 too.
Yeah, that's mine.
Correct.
They're through 129, again, if.
No, straight out.
Right.
Right.
To go straight out.
Straight out too, either way. Depending on whether, I mean, when the trucks are coming through, they're coming from the westerly direction there, in the morning. And they're either heading down Havel Street, New Street to Havel Street, down to 128,
Right.
or they're cutting straight across Chestnut Street and going into Peabody.
Yeah.
Linfield and Peabody. So,
If it's to a state numbered route, you do not need the adjoining community's approval. So we would not need Reading's approval if you gentlemen choose to do that.
So if we would say 28 to either 129 or 128,
Well, how they typically want us to lay the map out, literally, we'd have to go down all the way 128 and back up to where Havel meets New Street. It doesn't make a lot of sense, common sense, because ultimately that's where they want to go is 128, but that's how they make us submit it, from what Mike and I figured out. I mean, from a common sense standpoint, we could submit it like that, 28, 129 to Route 28, 128/95.
would the exclusion then extend beyond what we're talking about? It would have to extend down to, Winter Street?
No.
Elm Street, right? You could go to Elm, right?
No, I'm just thinking, like out to Kitty's almost, for people looking to come in a westerly direction, or easterly direction.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They're coming from the pits over there and through Wilmington. But no, the answer is no. They're just excluding it. Actually, they're gonna find their own way,
Correct.
anyway. I mean, it's not like you're gonna say it's truck exclusion, I don't know what the signage is, and then they're gonna have to find their own way.
Right.
So,
You typically submit one route. I'm not sure we couldn't submit two packages, alternate route A and B. Let them pick.
But how do we direct the trucks? We just say truck route?
Well, there'll be truck route signs and there'll be truck exclusion signs at either end of Chestnut and New in that location. In other communities, just truck route, 95 this way. Those kind of lime green signs. You just put those in a series that they're visible and direct them to where to go.
Well, I mean, originally we were talking about the raised crosswalks and all these other alternatives. Mr. Delaney and I were talking about simultaneously moving forward with the truck exclusion, and then it throttled back a bit when some of the residents said, we're not looking to push our problem somewhere else. But we're getting a little bit of mixed reaction over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
There is the existing truck traffic in front of Ryers, and it's substantial now. You will be adding to that, but it's a major truck route as it is. And I drive Havel Street every day. There's a lot of big trucks going back and forth on that road every day. So it's not like we're adding significantly what's already there.
Well, it's significant enough where it warrants a truck exclusion. I mean, so it's not insignificant.
Well, it's a large, actually, much larger volume of vehicles out on 62.
Well, I know there's a much larger
Right.
volume, but
But if we suggest the alternate route is 28 to 129 or 28 to 128, then we eliminate that from the area of riots, Havel Street and 62. Do we not?
We could make any suggestion you like. Just
Because
from
I think
what,
that's a-
what I've heard is typically they would like a in-town solution rather than just kind of pushing it somewhere else.
They may
But
like it,
But they
but-
don't say, no, don't even bother applying on it. Right.
Doug's
What I'm
gonna-
trying to understand is what does.
Can you come up,
I'm sorry, sure.
please, and state your name and your address, please, so everyone knows who you are.
Lisa Bernstein, 163 Chestnut. My question on this is, what difference in the end run does it make what we suggest to be the alternate route? Although I think I heard part of that answer, that you do have to post signs in town saying this is the truck route. My feeling is no matter what we put in our application, let's show them a route in town if that's what they want. The drivers are going to go where it is most convenient for them. And I feel in the long run, a lot of them will end up avoiding 62 in front of the high school because it's inconvenient, and they themselves will go out 28 to 128. You know, putting it in there doesn't mean that's where the traffic is going to go. Am I right?
I don't disagree with that, but I think initially, they may try that. My concern would be having that additional truck traffic in that area where you have the two schools and you have Rice, which is a pretty busy intersection.
How do drivers who are on that route know that that's what's been put in as the alternative? I mean, we have a sign that goes up, it says this is a truck exclusion. How do they know what we have proposed
Oh,
as
another
the
communities, for
solution?
example, in Peabody and Salem, they have couple of alternate 114s. So 114, when you go into Salem through
Mhm.
Peabody, you'll see a turn right to go to, that'll be a truck 114 straight. So
Okay,
it's simple signage.
so it's signage like
Right.
that.
Does that answer?
Just, yeah, it does, I'm
Thank you.
just
Appreciate
curious.
your comment and answer your question. This gentleman, you had your hand up.
Yeah,
If you could-
Willie Smith, 151 Chestnut. Essentially the same thing, just because you've designated the route doesn't mean that's where all the trucks are gonna go. You have to designate a route so that you can get there. But the route is how to get from Moynihan's to the intersection of Haverhill Street. Well, the trucks aren't coming from Moynihan's, they're coming from 93, and they're not going to Haverhill Street, they're going to 128. So the fact that there is a route, if the truck needs to get to Haverhill Street, he can get to Haverhill Street. Doesn't mean that all the truck traffic is gonna go in front of the high school and try to turn right at Ryers. You know, the cement mixers are gonna go, they're gonna get on 93 South and they're gonna take 128 North. So that's just the,
I hope you're right, if this is the way it
We
goes.
wish we could predict that.
well, yeah.
Monday through Friday
Cement
traffic at Route
mixtures.
62 heading down to the 128 Cloverleaf is not a treat.
Right.
You know, that's why they're cutting through our community.
We're gonna get to you, Chuck. This gentleman right here.
No matter what time of day.
Oh, Marie.
I have a copy of the traffic study that somebody was nice enough to forward
Maureen,
through
would
an
you be-
email.
Marie, would you be so kind to identify yourself?
Oh,
Everyone
hi,
doesn't
I'm
know.
Maureen Valker, and I live at 118 Chestnut Street, sorry. It says in here that the alternate route must lie wholly within the community making application. But if we go down Route 28, that wouldn't be the case. So you would have to get written approval from the towns.
Number 4 condition, 1, wholly within the community with the issue. Number 2, leave it on a state-numbered road, you do not need the adjoining community's approval.
Oh.
But if we do put it on a non-numbered route, say in Reading, or something, we would need their written permission before we do it.
So this is an inaccurate document. This is from the traffic study. Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, I'll get another copy from you if you have one available with the definitions.
I know that Mr. Cannavale had presented to us some
See,
time
it
ago
has a
that
state
that
highway,
was
you must have
an alternative
adjacent
option.
communities written approval. So-
I know you presented it to us, and I don't know where it came from, but some time ago, when you just stated, you had presented it to us regarding
Right.
Okay.
what we could
Only
designate as an
Partially in
alternative
adjacent
truck
community,
route.
but only on the state highway, or lie partially in adjacent community,
with their written
but not on a
approval.
numbered road.
So my
That is-
concern.
That is correct. That's right from the regulations.
Okay. My concern is that we identify an alternate route to the community at large before we file any application for truck exclusion. We all have the right to know where we would enforce traffic to go or where we would like it to go. I don't think we should be filing an application with that being open-ended because it could negatively impact as many residents that are impacted right now. And I know the residents on that end of Chestnut Street and New Street are negatively impacted. This study shows, and someone did, maybe Mike did the math on the front, it says that there are 1,329
No, those are my scribbles.
trucks. Oh, okay.
I'm
I
not
came
that
from
smart.
Mike, that's why I'm giving him credit. But thank you for the math. And it shows that only 56 of them go through the intersection towards Peabody Street. So I have 56 of them going by my front door in that nasty intersection that the police department would verify. It's a concern with just 56 trucks going through. If you take that traffic off of New Street and Chestnut Street and we don't refuse them permission to go by 3 schools around Ryer's Corners and down Havel Street, then those of us that live on this piece of Chestnut Street are going to have an additional 1,095 trucks going by that intersection.
I think
So-
I think that's why there's suggestion out there that we identify 28 to 129 or 28 to 128.
Right.
Not designate 62 to Haven.
Correct.
Well, and that would be my impression that I would like to leave with you, that we designate an alternate route that the town gets behind, because somebody had said earlier, maybe we can leave that open-ended. And that isn't a risk that I
What
want
do you
to
mean by
set.
open-ended?
No, what's the petition the state? We have to give them an alternative route. We
A
have to
single
designate.
alternative route.
Point to point.
Okay. Thanks.
Gentlemen. Mr. Kirsch. So I called on him, I didn't even see Maureen, so.
Fred Vieta, 8 Cedar Street. I mean, we've been down this road for a long time now. I thought the DPW director was gonna be bringing new solutions to the table, but I'm not hearing any new solutions tonight. We voted for the speed tables that got approved, but the DPW director, I guess, shot that down. So I'm just trying to figure out, why are we just going for the truck exclusion when we already voted for the speed tables? And that's what, that's what we requested. We went along through the whole process. This has been going on for years now. And it just seems like we're starting back up all over again, at the request of a few neighbors that had the same opportunity that we had to come.
Well, I'll say this, I understand where you're coming from, but I'm going to take responsibility for the town. I don't think the town, this is in
Did their
hindsight.
homework.
Well, maybe homework, but in terms of notifying that entire street of what the issues were. I think people heard truck exclusion, read about truck exclusion or traffic study, didn't know the whole larger issue. And then speed tables came up, and I think we did a poor job in notifying the whole neighborhood.
Okay.
That's a lesson we
Well,
learned.
another
But I
thing that's-
understand that you've been living with this issue.
Another
We're
thing that's
looking to
been-
get to a solution.
Another thing that's been brought up is putting things down the middle of the road to narrow the road. But I think if you do that, somebody on the sidewalk's gonna get hurt, because now you're pushing the traffic closer to the sidewalks, where people are walking to try to get to the parks. So narrowing the road and bringing the traffic closer to the sidewalks, I think would be dangerous.
Well, the alternative solution that I had discussed with DPW director and the town administrator after we had heard from the extended neighborhood at Chestnut Street was 2 speed tables, one that cuts across Mr. Foster, Mr. Lab's house, the other down going northerly, that's past the entrance to the DPW yard, closer to 62, with the center island somewhere in the area of Kid Spot. We thought that would lessen the noise issue. Mr. Foster, Mr. Lab didn't seem to have an issue with the speed table in front of their home, because it would solve their issue down there. The other speed table was away from any residential area.
Right.
And then the road narrowing, that's why we asked the police and fire chief to weigh in on both those issues. And it didn't seem like there was an issue in terms of the width of that roadway. I know fire chief, I haven't heard whether or not he had a large issue with that. I know the fire department and the fire chief has an issue with the speed tables in general, but we were going from 4 to 2 and narrowing that roadway in front of kids'